Hi guys, I hope you're all okay and I hope you're having, oh there's a hair on the screen. I hope you're having a lovely day. It's very, very hot here in London and I'm really, really sweaty, so I just keep standing in front of the fan and getting myself a bit less sweaty. Anyway, so I thought I'd read the next chapter so that while Gabriel's away, I might read another one and maybe Rosie can send it over so that Gabriel can listen to it. But I just thought this one was a good one to read while Gabriel can send a message back. So maybe at some point today he'll be able to listen to it before Mummy and Daddy go back to London. Okay, so we're on to chapter 19. And what's just happened is Edward and, well, Bryce and Sarah Ruth have gone outside, and Sarah Ruth is holding Edward and Bryce is holding Sarah Ruth, and they're looking at the stars, and Bryce said, "Make a wish, honey," because they saw a falling star, and Edward wished on Sarah Ruth's star, even though he knew it was her star. And Annie said she thinks he maybe wished to be able to fly, to have wings. And I think you're right, Annie, maybe so that he could, like he said earlier, that he could take Sarah Ruth away and into the sky where she would be able to breathe properly. And I think this is showing us that Edward is thinking of other people, not just himself. So he's not just thinking about wishes for him, like to get his golden pocket watch back, for example. He's thinking about wishes for other people. So here we go, chapter 19. The days passed, the sun rose and set and rose and set again and again and again. Sometimes the father came home and sometimes he did not. Edward's ears became soggy and he did not care, because Sarah Ruth was sucking his ears, wasn't she? But he didn't care. His sweater had almost completely unravelled and it didn't bother him. He was hugged half to death and it felt good. In the evenings, at the hands of Bryce, at the ends of the twine, Edward danced and danced. 1 month passed, and then 2, and then 3. Sarah Ruth got worse. In the 5th month, she refused to eat. And in the 6th month, she began to cough up blood. Her breathing became ragged and uncertain, as if she was trying to remember, in between breaths, what to do, what breathing was. "Breathe, honey," Bryce stood over her and said. "Breathe," thought Edward, from deep inside the well of her arms. "Please, please breathe." Bryce stopped leaving the house. He sat at home all day and held Sarah Ruth in his lap and rocked her back and forth and sang to her. On a bright morning in September, Sarah Ruth stopped breathing. "Oh no," said Bryce. "Oh, honey, take a little breath, please." Edward had fallen out of Sarah Ruth's arms the night before, and she had not asked for him again. So face down on the floor, arms over his head, Edward listened as Bryce wept. He listened as the father came home and shouted at Bryce. He listened as the father wept. "You can't cry," Bryce shouted. "You got no right to cry. You never even loved her. You don't know nothing about love." "I loved her," the father said. "I loved her." "I loved her too," thought Edward. "I loved her and now she's gone. How could this be?" he wondered. How could he bear to live in a world without Sarah Ruth? The yelling between the father and the son continued, and then there was a terrible moment when the father insisted that Sarah Ruth belonged to him, that she was his girl, his baby, and that he was taking her to be buried. "She ain't yours," screamed Bryce. "You can't take her, she ain't yours." But the father was bigger and stronger, and he prevailed. That means he kept on going. He won. He wrapped Sarah Ruth in a blanket and carried her away. The small house became very quiet. Edward could hear Bryce moving around, muttering to himself. And then finally the boy picked Edward up. "Come on, Jangles," he said. "We're leaving. We're going to Memphis." And there is Bryce walking away with Edward. And rather than leaving it on that quite sad note, let's just see what happens next. How many dancing rabbits have you seen in your life? Bryce said to Edward. I can tell you how many I've seen. One. You. That's how you and me are going to make some money. I seen it the last time I was in Memphis. Folks put on any kind of show right there on the street corner, and people pay 'em for it. I seen it. The walk to town took all night. Bryce walked without stopping, carrying Edward under one arm and talking to him the whole time. Edward tried to listen, but the terrible scarecrow feeling had come back. The feeling he had when he was hanging by his ears on the old lady's garden, the feeling that nothing mattered and that nothing would ever matter again. And not only did Edward feel hollow, he ached. Every part of his china body hurt. He ached for Sarah Ruth. He wanted her to hold him. He wanted to dance for her. He wanted to dance for her. And he did dance, but it was not for Sarah Ruth. Edward danced for strangers on a dirty street corner in Memphis. Bryce played his harmonica and moved Edward's strings, and Edward bowed and shuffled and swayed, and people stopped to stare and point and laugh. On the ground in front of them was Sarah Ruth's button box. The lid was open to encourage people to drop change inside it. Mama, said a small child, look at that bunny. I want to touch him. He reached his hand out for Edward. No, said the mother. Dirty. She pulled the child away. Nasty, she said. What a difference, because think of Edward right at the beginning when he was so prim and proper in his gorgeous clothes, and now a little child on the street wasn't allowed to touch him because he was so dirty. It's a sin to dance, he said. Oh, sorry. A man wearing a hat stopped and stared at Edward and Bryce. It's a sin to dance, he said. And then after a long pause, he said, it's particular sin for rabbits to dance. The man took off his hat and held it over his heart. He stood and watched the boy and the rabbit for a long time. Finally, he put his hat back on his head and walked away. The shadows lengthened. The sun became an orange, dusty ball low in the sky. Bryce started to cry. Edward saw his tears land on the pavement, but the boy did not stop playing his harmonica, and he did not stop making Edward dance. An old woman leaning on a cane stepped up close to them. She stared at Edward with deep, dark eyes. Pellegrina, thought the dancing rabbit. She nodded at him. Look at me, he said to her. His arms and legs jerked. Look at me. You got your wish. I have learned how to love, and it's a terrible thing. I am broken. My heart is broken. Help me. The old woman turned and hobbled away. Come back, thought Edward. Fix me. Bryce cried harder. He made Edward dance faster. Finally, when the sun was gone and the streets were dark, Bryce stopped playing his harmonica. I'm done now, he said. That wasn't much cheerier, was it? That was still quite a sad chapter. But we will leave it there. So Bryce and Edward are now in Memphis, and Bryce is making Edward dance with the strings and playing his harmonica, hoping that people will put some money in his tin so that he can buy some food and things like that. So we'll see what happens to Edward and Bryce in the next chapter, and hopefully Gabriel will be able to keep up with it, and if not, we'll catch him up when he comes to Blackpool, and we'll see you all there. Can't wait. Love you all lots. Bye.